In this video, we're gonna hop into the process that we've seen work with a lot of clients in the past as far as people relocating out here to San Diego. Over the past few years, we've had this YouTube channel. We've helped a bunch of people move out here from all different parts of the US and beyond, some in Europe and some in Canada and elsewhere. So anyways, this process is kind of our process, a little bit behind the scenes. So if you guys are thinking about moving out here and you're like, you've seen our other videos and you're like, reach out, call, text, email, whatever that is, that's gonna pop up right now too, but feel free to do that. What does that entail? If I do that, then where do I go? How do I find a house out there? How do I kind of, build my team and make sure that when I do move out there, I'm ready to roll? That's what we're gonna dive into today. It's like basically like 5 steps that we roll through to help clients make it a success. And if you're not at the stage right now where you're ready to move out here, you're ready to reach out, you can also check down below. We have a relocation guide. Feel free to download that. Reach out when you're comfortable, when you're ready to go. There's no time too early or too late to get out here. And it's never too early or too late. Sometimes people are reaching out to us a year ago. Like we just closed a transaction where clients had reached out last summer. And sometimes it's 2 years out. It really doesn't matter. The more time, the better we get to know you. I'm not saying if it's a week out too, we could dial that in too. It's really not a big deal. We've done it in all capacities. And if you're not there yet, we have if you're just exploring the area, vlog style, map style, really dial you into all these neighborhoods so that you have a good grasp on what it's like to live out here. Because this channel is all about living right here in San Diego. And so that first step is reach out to us. Call, text, email, whatever's easiest for you. We got your back when making the move here out to San Diego.
So now that you've reached out, what's next? We'd like to send you a link that has our calendar on it so you can pick a time, whatever works best for you, to jump on a Zoom call with us. And on the Zoom call, kind of our goals, we actually kind of go through what your goals are, talk about your timeline, talk about your deal breakers, some of those things to kind of just dial in what the best plan is for you. And you might not know it at that time too. Like there may be some things that are up in the air, but it's kind of just dialing in, getting to know each other a little bit and seeing what might work best for you. And then we can help you build that timeline too to make sure that everything works in your favor. And what we're doing also in this is if you have general questions about areas, we go through, we could jump on the map, check out some areas. We get a search set up for you while we're on the call on our search app, get everything dialed in so you have us in your corner as soon as we're done with that Zoom call. If you got questions about properties or areas, you can chat right through our app. You can text us. I know everybody knows that you guys are using different search tools, so if you have a link on Zillow of a property you want to take a look at or Redfin that you just have questions about, feel free to text it to us. You have Chris and I both to kind of lean on while you're deciding what your plan is to move out to San Diego.
And during this time when we're getting your search set up, it starts off pretty broad. Like we have clients reach out and they're like, I want to be in this area, this neighborhood. We'll get into the next step, which will actually dial it in a little bit more. But it's like some people reach out and they're like, I want this specific area. And it's really, obviously you're not in stone, you're not set in concrete. We could search elsewhere, even though if that's like where we kind of dial down. But like we had clients reaching out and they were like one specific neighborhood and ended up being, okay, this is a small neighborhood, not a ton of houses coming up. It's kind of right on the edge of their price point where they're comfortable with. What else is available? And then they started searching around and ended up finding a great house in the same city, but just a different area. And that's kind of how it works, Even if you're super specific, sometimes during these conversations and stuff, and just over the next few weeks as we're getting your search dialed in, it does change. Things changed. We get it. So it's just that initial call. It's really establishing the direct line between us so that we have that line-to-line communication. You can reach out for anything and everything. After this call, we're gonna give you a follow-up email and it's gonna have some information, some of our relocation stuff, some local area guides, etc. Which if you guys want right now, just leave us a comment or shoot us a text, whatever. We can just send that to you anyways. But nonetheless, if you are getting a loan, we're also gonna have a contact to our local lender. This is gonna be the next step, is getting the financing dialed in. Now, if you're online, Zillow has a little calculator where you're able to get a good idea or a ballpark idea of, what's the monthly payment gonna be, what's this gonna be, all that kind of stuff. But once you talk to a lender, it's really gonna dial in your budget and it's gonna help you figure out which areas are gonna be best for you. So maybe on the search, we were looking at one area and you're like, as you're talking to your lender, it ends up being the monthly payments are gonna be too much. Well, we can get rid of that area, that kind of stuff, where the lender really dials in that budget side of things. And this is a great step because you're gonna need it, obviously, when we go to the next step, we start searching and you're writing offers. But the earlier you get on this, sometimes we've had people run into stuff where if you're not just like a W-2 job or it's just that straight up kind of, here's my taxes, pretty straightforward and easy. Maybe there's some other things the lender needs to check to dial in to really make sure, they call it your file, but like all the stuff that you're sending them, make sure it's all dialed in to get you as close to the finish line as possible so that when we're going through the process, when you're actually in escrow on a house, there's no, things that are going to pop up that they're kind of not aware of. And so the first step is getting, it's called a pre-approval. You get that from the lender. Potentially they'll do underwriting, which is just like the next step, like you are even closer to the finish line. So it really helps during, if we're in a competitive market, like we are consistently here in San Diego, and you're competing against people and you want to, maybe one of the things that the seller's looking for is a quick close. Well, if you get all this dialed in up front, this will give us one more little building block to make your offer look even better. If we can have the lending all dialed in, we're writing an offer, we can do like a 21-day close or something like that. It just really helps you secure the house and, like I said, take a little bit of stress off the situation.
And one other thing too, if you're a year out, say, or you're just not ready to make offers right now, it doesn't hurt to have those conversations at least with the lender. Even if you're not sending all your paperwork, just having a conversation so you have kind of that base of where you're at, or maybe it's, maybe you need to save a little bit of extra money to be where you want to be. And just have that conversation just helps kind of dial in that part of things. And like Chris mentioned, we will send you our local broker who we've been using for a long time now. He has helped a ton of our clients get into homes here locally. He knows the market. He reaches out to the listing agent. He is great and a great asset. But there are other options. We have, in the last especially month or so, we've had clients use their banks, the bank that they bank with, and have had a lot of luck. We've closed on time, we've been efficient, a lot of the things that the big banks haven't been in recent months, but they're not as busy right now. So a lot of that is, that just gives you another option when you're looking, and it doesn't ever hurt to ask and have the conversation with multiple options.
Yeah, and in this option too, the reason we've seen some clients go with banks is because the interest rates that they've been offering have actually been significantly less than what brokers and outside companies are offering. Sometimes they just have that relationship with you, so they're going to offer you a better rate, just to help you out a little bit. Maybe you've been with them for a long time, or once again, they're a little bit slow. So there's a little bit incentive on that front as well.
And then just as one other option too, if you've used somebody in the past, definitely does not hurt to reach out to them and chat with them about your next loan.
So after you have got the lender dialed in, or at least had that conversation, as you get closer to actually coming out, looking at houses, or we'll cover that, virtual showings, all that kind of stuff. But as you get closer to that, we want to do this next step, not too far out, because it's called our buyer presentation. We call it our buyer prezo. Once again, we're gonna send you the link, book it, whatever time works for you. But this is where we're diving into the whole process, because what we found is, as working with a lot of clients, the more they know about the process, first off, this is emotional. There's a lot of moving parts. You're coming to a new place. There's a lot going on, obviously, we understand. And so the more that we can educate you and make sure you know what's going on every step of the way, the better it is for us. It makes our job easier, but it also makes your life easier, because we're gonna call back to this buyer presentation and like all of the things that we covered as far as the process, what to expect, what are contingencies, what is escrow, like just all these things that, it'll be a lot. It's like an hour-long, chat as we're going on there. Feel free, obviously, we're gonna go through our parts, but as you're asking questions too, there's gonna be more stuff that pops up. But as we're out at a house and we're like we're going through our home inspections, and we're gonna recall this back. We're gonna be like, okay, so every house is used, mostly. Even if you're buying new construction out here, you're still gonna want a home inspection. But most of the houses out here we'll call them used houses. They've been lived in, right? And so they're not perfect. They're gonna have their flaws. But during the inspection, you're gonna get a report that's like 70, 80 pages long. You're gonna think the house is falling apart. This is what we're gonna tell you during the presentation, so that when you actually get that, and we're actually going to the inspection, and the inspector's calling out, oh, there was, this with the plumbing, or there was that with the, XYZ, whatever it might be, you're gonna be expecting that. And in that too, we're gonna call out some red flags and kind of dial it in a little bit more. And just also the emotions, as we get closer to closing, there's gonna be some pieces where you're gonna maybe have some, like, did I overpay? Deserve some buyer remorse? Like, should I do this? Or, we're gonna cross that bridge too, but we're gonna cover all that. So when you're actually in that spot, you're gonna be like, oh, I get it. They told me you know,
I'm gonna
that's
feel
what's
this
going to
way.
happen. This is how I'm going to feel during this part. So we're good. Or, you know, maybe you have some more questions as we're getting there. But nonetheless, like, we've done this a lot of times, and this has just been super successful to help you really get acquainted with what entails the whole process, because there's a lot of moving pieces.
And even if this isn't your first time buying a house, it might be your first time buying a house in San Diego or buying a house in California. And so there's things that are different in different states and different areas also. So we kind of talked through some of those things as well. Escrow is kind of foreign to a couple of places that use attorneys for closings, and there's a lot of states that have that as well. So we kind of go through those differences as well.
Termite inspections.
Termites, yeah. Termites are going to be in 98% of houses.
Yeah, I think we've had maybe 3 houses in the, I've been 8 years, he's 10 years, that we have actually had a clean report, meaning there's no termites. So
which means they did it right before.
Yeah, exactly. They had it all taken care of before they went to escrow. But that is, yeah, you're gonna find termites.
Exactly. One other thing too, just to add to this, if we skip some steps, we skip the buyer presentation because you want to come out and see a couple houses just to kind of dial in areas, that's okay. This is something that we want to do to help you, this buyer presentation, just because it, like Chris mentioned, it just helps kind of get ahead of things and kind of get your head around what the process is going to be like. But if you are coming out and you want to see some areas with us or see a couple houses, it's not mandatory that we go through all these steps. It's not mandatory that you're pre-approved. It's not mandatory that we do the buyer prezo. These are just things that we want to do as we get closer to when you're actually going to buy a house.
And we will cover those as we get closer. But if it's like, we just got out of call, you're like, I'm coming out this weekend, you're super excited. Hey, can you guys show me, you know, X, Y, Z? We're like, yeah, let's meet up. Sure, let's grab a coffee. Or if you want to go explore on your own, let's grab a coffee when you get out here, whatever it might be. Like I said, we could kind of fill that in any spot too.
The last step is searching. So how we actually go about looking at houses. If you're coming from a different area that you can't come out a ton or at all, we've had this a lot over the last few years, and that's okay. We do a ton of virtual showings. And this doesn't mean you have to not see the house before purchasing it, but at least to kind of get that initial idea. And we've done this a ton. So virtual showings, if it's an option, we will FaceTime with you, walk through the house. But we also have something that not a lot of other agents do, which is we have a great camera to walk through and do a full 3D walkthrough of the house. And this isn't the listing agent's 3D walkthrough, this is our 3D walkthrough. So it's showing you anything and everything. It's opening some cabinets, it's showing you inside of the garage, which you never see in, well, hardly ever see in listing photos. It's showing you a lot of the things that are not salesy, and it's going through and pointing out things that we see that might be red flags. Is there a main road to the side? We'll show you that. Kind of give you an idea of what the street looks like. Some of those things you just don't see in the sales pitch that you're getting from the selling side.
And we'll send you this video too after. Like, one of us will do FaceTime if you want, ask some questions while we're there. The other one will go through with the camera and check it out. And it's like, it'll be on a video. So we've had, I could see how many times you guys are watching it. So sometimes it'll see, oh, they watched it 2 times, probably not too interested in the house. Wow, they've watched it 15 times, like, they're interested. But it's great because you can stop, rewind, pause, and obviously hit us a text, you shoot us a text, and ask questions as well. But it's a pretty thorough walkthrough.
Well, and it's also great too, like even if you say you see the virtual tour, you get into escrow, you come out and you see it maybe during the inspection time period, which we have a lot of those situations. It's also a great tool to have after close because maybe you're planning furniture, maybe you're reminding yourself what the appliances are like. You can kind of go back through and watch that video and see what you might want for some of these rooms too. So it's just an added tool that we've done over the last few years that has been a huge success.
And we've seen, obviously you're relocating from somewhere, so how you getting out there, you know, what are all the logistics, how can I come see houses? Like, we've had clients go through this whole process where we're doing our virtual walkthroughs, we're doing all this, we do inspections, we do like the whole process, close on the house, and they haven't even seen it, and then come out and love it. So yeah, obviously we want you out. We want you to come out, check it out at some point. Make sure, if you can, but it's not mandatory. We've done completely virtual a lot of times.
So if you are planning, say, a week to come out or a weekend to come out, that's great too. That's the kind of the more traditional way. We get that. We have that a lot with our clients. But it kind of depends on what the market's like. You want to come out and you want to see a handful of houses or a ton of houses if there's an opportunity. But the market over the last couple of years has been slim. So it's been fly out, see 2, maybe 3 houses and fly home. So that's part of the reason we started doing the virtual tour, is just to give you another option for that. But we love doing the traditional way too, actually getting you in the home before you're making a huge decision on buying a house.
And during all this too, we're communicating. So we have all these steps, but we're emailing, texting, calling throughout this whole time. Make sure you're in the know what's going on in the market. Obviously, we're dropping these new videos every single week. So if there's specific videos you want us to make, we make these videos for you guys. So leave us a comment below. Like, we've made a lot of videos because people are like, ooh, I want to see this area of Oceanside. Can you do some more Vista? Can you do some more Carlsbad or Encinitas or whatever it might be? That's what we do, make videos for you guys. So drop us a comment down below, subscribe. But also, if you want to get this process started, we are a real estate crew right here in San Diego. We make videos about living right here in San Diego. So reach out. Step number one, call, text, or email. We got your back when making the move here to San Diego.